Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take your source material and really unpack the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight. Today, we're embarking on a pretty fascinating deep dive into a comprehensive guide all about the power of reading for learning English. This isn't just picking up a book. It's about unlocking fluency and confidence through a really strategic approach to language acquisition.
Exactly. Our mission today is to uncover why reading is such a game changer for your English language journey, no matter where you are on your learning path, really. We'll explore the profound cognitive benefits, the practical what to read, and the effective hows of reading. Think of this as discovering the hidden levers of language learning.
Yeah, precisely. This deep dive is your shortcut to becoming genuinely well-informed on a topic that's, absolutely critical to mastering a new language. Get ready for some real aha moments, because this material, it really unpacks some surprising truths. #tag why reading is a superpower for English learners. Okay, so let's unpack this main idea. The source calls reading one of those powerful tools for learning English. It even says it helps you live and think in English. It's quite a statement, isn't it? What do they actually mean by reading being the key that opens the door to fluency and confidence?
It is a powerful metaphor, yeah. And the source really hammers home that it's not about just passive exposure. It's about a deep sort of multi-layered integration of the language. Reading offers these really concrete benefits that fundamentally reshape how you learn, moving way beyond those traditional, often, let's be honest, frustrating study methods.
Right. And the first big win, our deep dive highlights. Vocabulary. It says reading helps you absorb vocabulary naturally rather than memorizing word lists. But how does that actually work? My brain just shuts down with flashcards.
Yeah, I get that. And that's where the insight is, really. It's not just seeing a word again and again. It's about encountering words like, say, curious in different contexts. Maybe a kid exploring the woods. Then later, maybe a scientist doing an experiment. This varied, repeated exposure, it builds a richer connection for that word in your brain. You're not just memorizing a definition. You're building this mental map of how the word is used. That makes it stick much better. And critically, you learn how to use these words authentically in, real life situations, improves both speaking and writing.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And what really grabbed me in the source was how it tackles grammar. We often feel like we're just memorizing endless rules, don't we? But the source suggests reading lets you see grammar in action.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this is a real game changer for so many learners. Instead of dissecting rules in isolation, reading lets you implicitly learn how native speakers form questions or use tenses, build complex sentences. Over time, you just develop this intuitive feel for what sounds right in English. You become more accurate, more natural, without ever having to consciously think, okay, which rule applies here? It's almost subconscious.
And building on that, it trains your brain to think directly in English, enhancing comprehension. The dream. No more constant mental translation. How does reading actually achieve that cognitive leap?
That's such a crucial point. Breaking that translation habit is one of the biggest hurdles, right? The source really emphasizes that reading is this powerful mental workout. It teaches your brain to understand English directly. At first, you might translate a few words here and there, but with consistent reading, your brain starts building these direct pathways between the English word and the concept itself. It's like rewiring your mental dictionary to be English only, which speeds up comprehension massively and lets you respond more confidently in conversations. And you also learn to kind of get the gist of a sentence, even if you don't know every single word.
So it's not just about input, but output too. The deep dive says good readers often become good writers and speakers.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, reading gives you this huge library of examples, well-structured sentences, rich vocabulary, natural expressions. You start to internalize how native speakers express emotions or give opinions, describe things, and then you can start to imitate those styles in your own writing and speech. It strengthens your ability to express yourself clearly, correctly, and confidently in pretty much any situation. Because you've seen the blueprints,
Which brings us to the ultimate goal, I suppose, building that English mindset, where you genuinely stop thinking in your native language first.
Exactly. This is presented as one of the biggest milestones in language learning. And reading fiction specifically is highlighted as a really powerful catalyst for this. Just regular reading makes your brain more comfortable processing thoughts in English. And that translates directly to speaking and writing faster with fewer pauses, fewer mistakes, because you're not constantly translating back and forth in your head. It's about English becoming part of your inner voice, your internal monologue. That's real fluency.
Okay, so if reading holds this much power, the obvious next question is, what should you actually read? Our source is super clear that choosing the right stuff for your current level is absolutely crucial. Too easy, you plateau. Too hard, you just get frustrated and, well, probably quit.
Yeah, the key, as the source points out, is finding materials that are both enjoyable and understandable. That balance is what keeps you engaged and learning continuously without feeling totally overwhelmed. It's about momentum.
So for someone just starting out, the beginner level, what should they be looking for? My first thought might be, grab a classic novel and a dictionary, but I suspect that's not the advice.
Haha, definitely not the classic novel just yet, no. For beginners, the focus is really simple, easy to understand stuff, short sentences, clear pictures, common everyday language. The source gives some great, non-intimidating examples. Children's books, like The Very Hungry Caterpillar. They use repeated words, colorful pictures, simple grammar, surprisingly effective. English short stories with simple vocabulary. Loads of these are written just for learners, helps build confidence. Graded readers. Oh yes, graded readers are brilliant. They're literally graded A1, A2, like that. Publishers like Oxford, Penguin, Cambridge do them. This means the vocabulary and grammar are controlled. Perfect match for your level. So you're learning effectively and not drowning.
Okay, that makes sense.
Then there's comic books and picture books. They combine images and text, which is a huge help for understanding meaning. Great for conversational stuff too. And English story apps. Things like LingQ or Duolingo stories. They offer short stories with built-in help, like vocabulary tips, translations, even audio. Super interactive.
All right, and once you're past those first steps, feeling a bit more comfortable, what about the intermediate level, that bridge phase?
Yeah, at this stage, you're ready for things that are a bit more challenging, but still engaging. Introduce new words, more complex sentences, but without being, punishing. The source suggests things like young adult novels, like The Fault in Our Stars or Harry Potter. They're in modern English, deal with relatable themes, offer a good challenge without being too dense.
Right, good call.
Simple news articles. Websites like VOA Learning English, BBC Learning English News and Levels. They publish real news but in simplified English. Brilliant for current vocab. Bilingual books, English on one side, translation on the other. Really useful for a quick check without stopping your flow to grab a dictionary. And fantasy fairy tales in simplified English. Classic stories like Cinderella or Peter Pan, but rewritten in easier English. Familiar plots help a lot.
And then for those ready to really dive deep, the advanced level, this is where you're reading like a native.
Yeah. Exactly. Now you're ready for authentic English content. Just what a native speaker would pick up. This material focuses on the subtle stuff, nuances, advanced vocab, complex sentences. The recommendations really open things up. Classic novels, Austen's Pride and Prejudice, Orwell's 1984. Rich language, historical expressions, literary depth, a real feast. English newspapers. Reading The Guardian, The New York Times, BBC News, you get current events, opinion pieces, different professional writing styles, English blogs and essays, covering everything from lifestyle to tech to business. You get that casual yet fluent language, current expressions, and research papers or business articles. Perfect if you need to improve academic or professional English, expands formal vocab and understanding of complex ideas.
Wow. It's really clear that matching the material to your level isn't just a suggestion. It's like the foundation for making this whole reading thing work. Okay, so we know what to read, but the source makes it absolutely clear that how you read is just as important, maybe even more so. It's all about engaging with the language. So how do we actually do that? Turn reading from passive to active.
That's the critical difference, isn't it? Passive reading, just letting your eyes scan the page, it just won't give you the same results. The goal isn't just to finish the book. It's to absorb vocabulary, understand grammar patterns, really train your brain to think in English. And this deep dive offers some really specific strategies for that active engagement.
Let's get into those. First up, the source really pushes setting a daily reading goal. Why is consistency such a big deal?
Consistency is key. Yeah, it sounds simple, but here it's about building that habit, reinforcing those neural pathways we talked about earlier. The advice is pretty straightforward. Commit to reading 15 to 30 minutes every single day, even if it's just a few pages. It's quality over quantity. And to stay motivated, maybe keep a reading journal. Note what you read, new words, how you felt, or use an app like Goodreads to track it. A small, consistent effort really adds up over time. Significantly.
I love the 5-finger rule for choosing a book. It sounds so simple, but really smart.
It's brilliant, isn't it? So practical. Helps make sure the material is challenging, but not, soul-destroying. You just open a random page in a book you're considering. For each word you don't know, hold up a finger. If you hit 5 fingers or more before finishing the page, it's probably too advanced right now. For enjoyable learning, anyway. If you only raise 1 or 2 fingers, Perfect. It's a good match. Challenging enough for new vocab, but not so hard you lose interest. Takes the guesswork out.
Okay, so beyond choosing the right book, what about while you're reading? Active strategies.
Right. Active reading means you're paying close attention to how the language is used, almost like being a language detective. This includes things like highlighting new words or phrases you don't know, underlining expressions, idioms, or grammar patterns that seem useful or interesting, writing notes in the margins or a separate notebook, definitions, synonyms, maybe try writing your own sentence using the new word. This active stuff forces your brain to process the information more deeply, helps store it in long-term memory. It's interaction, not just reception.
It's so tempting, though, especially at the start, to stop and look up every single unknown word. But the source suggests guessing from context. Is that actually effective or just frustrating?
It's incredibly effective, yeah. The source makes a strong case. Constantly stopping kills your flow, breaks your immersion, makes reading feel like a chore. The strategy is read the sentence before and the sentence after the unknown word. Think about the situation, the mood, the characters. Ask yourself, what kind of word could possibly fit here? Guessing from context helps build reading fluency. And, crucially, it improves your ability to read without always relying on translation. You become a more independent, intuitive reader.
But sometimes you do need a dictionary, right? The source advises smart dictionary use. What's that mean?
Absolutely. When you genuinely need to look something up, especially important words or ones that keep reappearing, the source strongly recommends a monolingual English dictionary, like Cambridge Dictionary or Longman. Why? Because they define words using simple English. This helps you think in English rather than constantly switching back to your native language.
Ah, right. Keep you in the zone.
Exactly. Plus, they give you pronunciation, grammar info, example sentences, invaluable stuff, and always remember the follow-up. Write the word down in your vocabulary notebook with your own example sentence. Makes it stick.
Summarizing what you read. That sounds like another really solid strategy for locking in the knowledge.
It really is. After a page or a chapter, just taking a few minutes to summarize what you understood in your own words, it helps massively with memory recall, understanding the plot or argument. But it's also fantastic speaking and writing practice. You could write a short paragraph, maybe just say it out loud to yourself, or even record yourself. Use phrases like, okay, so this part was about, or the main character decided to. This active reconstruction really improves your thinking in English and boosts your confidence in expressing ideas.
And finally, something that might feel a bit silly at first. Reading aloud. Does that actually make a difference?
It might feel silly, yeah, the source acknowledges that, but it's highlighted as one of the best ways to improve pronunciation, develop fluency, and really hear the rhythm and melody of English.
Yeah.
You can just read a paragraph, slowly, clearly. Maybe use tools like Google Translate's audio feature or an app like ELSA Speak to listen and then repeat, recording your own voice and comparing it to native pronunciation. Also remarkably effective. It really bridges that gap between understanding and actually producing the language. #tag tools, resources, and a daily routine.
Wow, this deep dive is just packed with practical advice. And the source even gives this fantastic, concrete list of tools and resources to help you read better.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is how technology now really bridges that gap between just reading passively and actually learning actively. It makes the whole process way more interactive and engaging than it used to be. Empowers you, really.
Let's quickly run through some of these key tools. They sound incredibly useful.
They really are. First, LingQ. It's an interactive reading platform. It color codes words, highlights new ones, fades known ones. You can click any word or phrase for meaning, translation, pronunciation. Plus, it often has audio versions linking reading and listening.
Nice.
Language Reactor. This is a Chrome extension, a powerful tool for dual language subtitles on YouTube and Netflix. You can pause a video, instantly see the meaning of words or phrases, turns entertainment into learning.
Oh, I like that.
Rewordify.com. This website takes complicated English text and simplifies it. Great for tackling challenging articles, classics, or even, say, academic stuff in simpler terms. BBC Learning English, a real treasure trove. Short news stories in simplified English, vocabulary explanations, quizzes, grammar tips, often with audio and transcripts. Just brilliant. Readtheory.org. This is a free online reading platform. You read passages, answer comprehension questions, and the site cleverly adjusts the difficulty level as you improve, so you're always appropriately challenged. Project Gutenberg offers over 60,000 free English books. Perfect for advanced learners wanting to explore classic novels totally free. And news in levels, Love this one. It presents the same new story in 3 different levels: simple, moderate, advanced. Lets you progress naturally from easy to complex versions of the exact same content.
That's genuinely an incredible toolkit.
Yeah.
Makes this whole journey feel so much more accessible. And the source even lays out a sample 30-minute daily reading routine. Feels completely doable.
Yeah, it's designed to be flexible and effective. It really emphasizes consistency over, intense cramming sessions. It breaks down the 30 minutes into these manageable chunks. 5 minutes, quick review of yesterday's vocabulary. Reinforces learning. 15 minutes, read a new passage or maybe 3 to 5 pages. That's your core reading time. 5 minutes, note down new vocabulary and expressions you encountered. Active engagement again. And 5 minutes, summarize what you just read. Either write it down or just say it out loud. Solidifies understanding, practices output.
And finally, some extra tips for success that sort of tie everything together neatly.
Yeah, these final tips are pretty crucial for making your reading journey enjoyable and, most importantly, sustainable. Read about topics you love. Simple, right? But if you love sports or romance or science, read about that. Enjoyment fuels motivation. Combine reading with listening. Use audiobook versions maybe, helps connect the written and spoken forms. Join online book clubs, adds a social dimension, great for discussion and sharing insights.
Good idea.
Be consistent. We've said it before, but yeah, a little every day is way more powerful than a marathon session once a week. And reread the same book or passage. You'll honestly be amazed how many new words and patterns you notice the second or third time. It's not just about speed, it's about depth. Hashtag tag outro.
Well, this deep dive has really shown us that reading isn't just, a method for learning English. It's more like a doorway into the culture, the mindset, the whole rhythm of the language. It turns what can be a lonely process into something much more holistic and immersive.
Absolutely. Every single sentence you read is training your brain to think, understand, and respond directly in English. It builds not just vocabulary and grammar, but that deep knowledge, that solid confidence, and genuine fluency. Doesn't really matter what kind of stuff you enjoy reading.
So what does this all mean for you listening to us right now?
Well, we really encourage you to start your English reading journey today, or maybe tomorrow morning. Just pick a short English story or article that actually interests you. Set a timer for, say, 15 minutes and just read with focus. Afterward, just jot down maybe 5 new words you noticed. Challenge yourself to use each one in your own sentence. Repeat that simple habit every day, and then just watch your English skills grow week by week. You'll unlock that true power of reading.
Be curious. Be consistent. And yeah, most of all, enjoy the journey. We really hope this deep dive has given you everything you need to begin.